Hi, I'm Jeannie and I'm here today from Jimmy Bean's Wool, and I want to teach you a really fun, decorative, reasonably loose cast-on called the Channel Island cast-on. It's really much simpler than you think, and the way you start this is, you can see that I have a single strand of my yarn here like this, but you're going to double that up about like that. Of course, you'll want to adjust for the number of stitches you need to end up with. And we're going to loop it over. This single strand is coming from my working ball. We're going to loop it over and triple the yarn for our initial slip knot beginning. Now, the slip knot goes away. So this does not count as a stitch. This is just to anchor it and get us started with our cast on. So I am going to keep my working yarn, the single strand, coming from coming to the back of my work, away from my body, and I'm going to keep the double strands towards my body. So we will start with the initial stitch, which starts with a yarn over, just like this, which gives it its loose feel. And this counts as a stitch. So our slip knot does not count as a stitch, but this counts as a stitch, the yarn over. You want to go clockwise around and loop the yarn around your thumb twice. Take the tip of your needle and go through those two loops, grabbing that single strand, which is coming from your working ball of yarn, and just snug those up. Okay, so now I have two stitches. I have my yarn over stitch and my channel iron cast on stitch, which creates a little bump because of these double strands. Now you'll notice that the single working strand wants to come to the front of the work. We don't want that. We're going to keep that pushed to the back of the work like this, and we're going to go ahead and do another one with the yarn over, clockwise, looping over our thumb twice, going through like this, pulling the single strand through those two loops. I do like to keep my index finger on these stitches to hold them in place. We now have 4 stitches with our little fun Channel Island bumps. Again, the yarn wants to go to the front, the single strand, but we are not going to let it. We're going to push that to the back, yarn over, double loop clockwise around our thumb, go through those two loops, grab that single strand, pull it through, kind of stabilize that stitch with your index finger and snug it up. Now this, just like anything else, you don't really want to do a super tight cast on, but you do want to be consistent in the tension in your stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and really quickly do a couple more so that you can see what it looks like. We're doing our yarn over, clockwise around the thumb, pulling that through, snugging it up. And you'll notice I'm just controlling that single strand to the back of my work. Double loop around my thumb, pull it through. Don't forget your yarn over. It's really easy to do. And pull that through, snug that up, and that would be the end of our cast on. Each yarn over counts as a stitch, and each loop counts as a stitch. And Pete's going to get in here and show you these real decorative bumps that are created by this double strand of yarn. And what you will do is just work across. When you get to this slip stitch, slip it on the last row. Don't knit it, slip it, work one more row, and then drop this off. And you'll have strands just hanging. You can pin them up, you can weave them in later, but you don't want to work this stitch and don't count it as a stitch. It's not a stitch. It's your slip knot just to hold it in place. And that's it, just a basic little decorative edge, great for hats, fantastic for socks. It would make a really nice loose edge, work well with a 1x1 rib, knit one, purl one. Really fun little cast on, give your work just a little bit of oomph and a little looser too. So it is good for mittens, socks, gloves. You could always go up a needle size to do your cast on if you still need it to be a little looser, and then go down to your regular needle size to do your piece. So this is the Channel Island cast on. I'm Jeannie from Jimmy Beans Wool. I hope you learned something. Have a great day.
Thunder rumbles on this American summer night.